Petition number 1610, which is to upgrade the A75, and petition 1657, the A77 upgrade. The first of those, lodged by Matt Halliday, calls on the Scottish Parliament to urge the Scottish Government to upgrade the A75 Euro route to dual carriageway for its entirety as soon as possible, and the latter by Donald McHarry on behalf of the A77 Action Group calls on the Scottish Parliament to urge the Scottish Government to dual the A77 from the Ayr Whitlets roundabout south to the two ferry ports located at Cairnryan, including the point at which the A77 connects with the A75. Now, we previously considered this petition at our meeting of the 28th of September, and at that point we agreed to write to the Cabinet Secretary for Net Zero Energy, to the then Cabinet Secretary for Net Zero Energy and Transport. The committee has received a response from Jenny Goldruth, who was the Minister at the time, and her response acknowledges the need for improvements to both roads and highlights that STPR2 recommends safety, resilience and reliability improvements be made. The Minister notes that the South West Scotland Transport Study does not recommend full dualling of either road, but rather targeted improvements, and the submission states that a delivery plan to prioritise STPR2 will be released later this year. Now, we've received written submissions from both the petitioners, drawing our attention to a newly published A75, A77 Economic Impacts Report, and this work was commissioned by Dumfries and Galloway, South Ayrshire and Mid and East Antrim councils, and undertaken by independent transport consultant how do we say that? Swaco. The study found that dualling would bring £5 billion worth of positive benefits, I quote, positive benefits, to the UK economy, such as reduced journey times and vehicle operating costs. Finlay Carson, MSP, is unable to join us this morning, but had provided us with a written submission, and he's also highlighted the report, noting its finding that dualling would bring environmental gains, including CO2 emissions reduction. And we've also received, at least I have, and I'm hoping colleagues might have as well, a submission from Emma Harper, MSP, in relation to the petition, in which she reiterates her support and draws attention to the objectives that have been retained, the recommendations that have been made, and also her work with the representative action groups. Colleagues, on the basis of the submissions we've received, what suggestions might anyone like to recommend? Fergus Ewing.
Well, I think we should keep the petitions open. I mean, quite obviously, these are very important matters, not only to petitioners, but to people in this part of Scotland. And whereas I represent Highlands and have been known to mention other roads, I'm mindful of
to which we may come,
to which I expect we will come. I think, out of the interests of equity, we should say that many parts of rural Scotland have roads that are really not up to scratch and fit for purpose. And I think Emma Harper has made the point that one reason why the petition should be kept open is because we don't have timescales for the implementation of the proposed works, and that is something perhaps that could be pressed. I think on a wider note, Convener, I'm struck by the substantial cost of upgrading, doing anything to roads, dualling them certainly. We're talking hundreds of millions of pounds usually for relatively short sections. But I'm also conscious of the safety issue and the issue of deaths, particularly in the Highlands, but in many trunk roads around the country. So I do think we should keep the petition open. I think there are more questions that we need to ask. I've just identified one, but colleagues may have others.
Alexander Stewart.
Thank you, Convener. I would concur with Fergus Ewing that yes, we do require to continue to seek more clarity. And I think that we now do have a new Transport Minister in the form of Kevin Stewart, and I think it would be useful to highlight the key findings that we've seen from the Economic Impact Report. And as our colleagues Emma Harper and Finlay Carson have also identified within their submissions, that what kind of response the government would have to that report and how it should be managed. So I think that's something that we could do just to clarify and to move forward, Convener.
Thank you. So I think that recommendation is very sensible. We write to the Minister, particularly given that we've got this new economic impact with the projection of the billions that the economy could benefit from. So are we agreed on that? We are. Yeah.